Alrighty, guys. Welcome back to the Sleuth Intuition channel. This is True Crime in the Morning. I'm your host, Patrick Vallejos. My friends call me Sleuth. Today we will be discussing Lisa Irwin, also known as the Baby Lisa case. So I want to welcome everybody on in. We'll get going in about 10 minutes. Sorry that I was late. Um, we're going to be doing a part two on this one. There's just not enough information. I haven't gathered enough information to give you guys the full picture here. It's ridiculous. Um, what I was working on right now was, and the reason I was late, I was trying to gather information on a John Tanko, also known as Jersey. It's probably an alias he was providing to people he met because he was actually wanted by law enforcement at the time. So if you guys could, we're going to touch on that a little bit later in the live stream. We should have about 2 hours here, hopefully. But if you could send me anything you can find on John Tanko, his location information, maybe his any articles about what he was arrested for, anything on this guy, John Tanko, Tanko, also known as Jersey. Now he seems to be one of the prime suspects here, so we'll talk about that in a little bit. Good to see everybody. Night Shadow, Patricia, Michelle Miga. Ooh, sorry you had a nightmare. Brad, good to see you from outside of the grid. Great channel. Been making some great content lately. Thank you for that, sir. We got Sensei in the house. How are you, Sensei?
We do not train to be merciful here. Mercy is for the weak. Here, on the street, in competition.
Wanda. Anything I like, welcome. Lisa. Molly, Jill, Caricature, Jerry, Horihito. True Crime and Other Stuff. Welcome in, guys. Hope you had a great Christmas. I know I did. Good to see you, Molly. We'll get going in about 5 minutes, guys. Usually, I like to give about 10 minutes to allow everybody to kind of stumble on in. Good morning, Katie. Susan. Members, don't forget there's been a time change on the Christmas New Year's giveaway on the 27th. It moved from 6 p.m. Mountain Standard Time to 3 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. I did change the date on the actual live stream, and I did put a post in the community. But I'll try to do my best to keep updating you guys on that, or putting that out there, because you do have to be present to win. You have to be there. If your name is drawn, you have to be there to accept it. And we'll give you 5 minutes to show up. What's up, Saska? Yeah, I had a great Christmas. Shadow. What's up, Hiawatha? Morning. Yeah, this case is ridiculous. I mean, and I'm not quite sure where Occam's razor fits in all this, because I mean, it's just not that simple. And I'm not even sure I fully understand what Occam's razor even means. To me, that's like the truth is on the surface. It's right there. You just have to have the ability or the IQ or whatever to see the pattern or put the pieces together. But I don't think that's the case. Because if that was the case, that would mean like every time a child went missing, it was the parents that did it, right? I just don't think it's always that simple. We Summer Wells, her parents, they're a mess. They are a total mess. And you can't argue in court that they're decent people. And I don't know them personally, but from what they've presented to the public, it's easy for us to say, hey, like Summer didn't have the best situation. It's easy to say that. So this case kind of reminds me of that, where you automatically assume that the parents are responsible and the whole crocodile tears and all that. But at the same time, remember, when you have bad parents, you have people from the outside looking in, you know, through their egotistical, whatever's going on with their psyche. They're looking at through their eyes, and they're seeing these bad parents and they're seeing these young kids, and in their mind, they could be becoming obsessing over it. Like, look at these bad parents. We got to do something. We got to rescue these kids, or, those kids deserve a better home. So we want to convict them of these crimes based on how they're parenting. But maybe somebody already did that. Maybe somebody has already convicted them, and that was the motivation for the kidnapping. They've already been convicted and tried through the eyes of somebody who has justified a kidnapping. Or we could be dealing with an accident, and somebody's trying to cover it up. That's what it looks like on the surface. To me, that would be Occam's razor. The mother was drunk. She came home, picked up the baby, went and laid with the baby, and just being completely inebriated, didn't realize that maybe she was smothering the child. Husband comes home, sees this. Maybe he takes action and doesn't even tell the mother. But we'll get into all these theories and things like that. It's about at the 10-minute mark. And if you guys could, we're going to talk a lot about this person named Jersey. He's a local transient, somebody who just kind of comes and goes through the neighborhood. Very sneaky type guy. Homeless guy who's inserted himself into the suburb and was befriended by this community. He does handiwork. People leave town. He'll go water the plants. He'll tend to the sprinklers, things like that. Well, he's my number one person of interest. And I know it's hard to kind of call out the families of the victims. We know a lot of people do that because it's right there on the surface, right? And we know the truth, and the answers aren't going to always be on the surface. So you got to scratch the surface. But in this case, I mean, they are very extremely suspicious. And, my gut was telling me there's something more there with this family. And that's why I had to dig. Because whenever that's the case, you definitely want to start digging. You don't want to get caught up on that. Because just because it's right in front of your face doesn't mean that that's the answer. Doesn't mean that that's the razor that we're looking for, right? And we're definitely getting ready to go down a rabbit hole. So it's not the truth in this case. Yep, working on a part 2 on Lindsey Baum. That'll probably be next week. For the part 2s, I always try to get an interview. So we're going to do our best to interview people who are working or surrounding themselves on the case, surrounding themselves with information pertaining to the case. Hey, what's up, Anthony? Merry Christmas to you, my friend. Hey, Sleuth and Chat. Hope everyone had a nice Christmas. Yep, I hope you did as well. Hey, GP. Good to see you. Welcome on in. Saska says, yeah, that sounds like a possibility in the Summer Wells case. So the same way that we want to convict these folks, that conviction could have already taken place. And those folks may have justified kidnapping. And even the parents could have been paid off, and all this bullshit is the price they're paying. Maybe they don't want to admit, yeah, I sold my child. Not in this case, but in many other cases. Oh, and another thing I was working on, if you guys, any of you mods or any of you guys want to be helpful, if you could look up the statistics for infant kidnappings, that'll be brought up a lot by the mother. She seems to think that I believe her when she says that she thinks Lisa's alive, and her and some other folks talk about the statistics of infants being kidnapped as opposed from a predator as opposed to young girls, preteens, teenage girls. So I don't know. I didn't feel like that was true statement. I feel like babies are getting kidnapped just as much, because these sickos, they really don't discriminate when it comes to their depravity. Good true crime. All right. And I'm not really sure where to start. So I think we're just going to dive in here. It's going to be a lot of videos, a lot of articles, a lot of maps, and then we're just going to spend the rest of the time discussing the information. There's just so much to go over. Okay, let's try this. I think this is the earliest video here. This one is titled Baby Lisa Irwin Search Enters 11th Day. Parents cooperate with investigators. It's going to be an ABC News broadcast.
Parents of missing baby Lisa Irwin. Her family has released those home videos we've been showing you this morning that as investigators once again searching a wooded area Thursday near the family's Kansas City home. ABC's Abby Boudreau is in Kansas City and has the latest for us this morning. Abby?
Who are you talking to? Drink your baba.
It's the first real glimpse into baby Lisa's life at home.
Look at the messy baby, Lisa.
You can hear Lisa's mom behind the camera.
Say hi, Mom. Hi, Mom. What are you doing?
Lisa wearing a Daddy Loves Me t-shirt.
And the mother of Lisa is swearing that her intuition tells her that she hasn't been harmed and that she's okay. And the family's theory is that she was sold to a family.
Happy family moments her parents now cherish.
Good girl.
As the search for Lisa enters its 11th day with seemingly no leads, the family says it's releasing the videos this morning in the hope people will not lose interest in little Lisa's story.
There's never enough we can do to keep a child's face out there when they've disappeared. And so media is such a powerful tool. To be able to utilize them as much as possible is really one of the best things that her family could be doing right now.
And that was Elizabeth Smart. You guys know who that is. We've covered her case a few different times. She was kidnapped and basically was brought into a cult. Obviously, she was found and her captors were put in jail.
Right now.
For the first time this morning, we're also hearing exclusively from Bill Stanton, a private investigator and former New York City police officer, now working with the family.
Yeah, we're going to try to talk. We're going to try to talk to this guy.
Now? I am seeing a family's heart literally torn out of its chest.
After spending time with the baby's mother, do you think that she may have been responsible for her child's disappearance?
Let me try and not give a politician's answer. Let me just say this. She doesn't want to be discounted. She doesn't want to be discounted.
I can really respect that. She wants to be vetted. She knows that she looks suspicious. She knows that her story is suspicious. She knows that the families should be under suspicion. So I can really respect that. I think it's important for families that are part of a tragedy like this to do everything they can to be cleared. That way that they can move on, because the statistics won't allow these investigators to ignore that. Statistics usually say it's a relative, neighbor, coworker, somebody close by that is in a position to covet this victim, or to have time to allow that motivation for the murder to happen, right? It's not like a serial killer who just picks at random. So I respect the fact that she's willing to put that out there. And she's really honest about her drinking and things like that that make her look suspicious. You know, she's not trying to hide it. She's like, yeah, I mean, I put the kids down to sleep and I go out and I party, you know, even though my husband's out at work at the midnight shift. So she puts all that out there. And I respect that.
What do you mean?
She wants to be looked at, vetted, and then once everyone feels she's not a suspect, let's move on.
Bill Stanton says he's already received email tips that he's handed over to investigators. He also says the family continues to cooperate with police.
Hey, what's up, Angela? Just got here. I remember this case well. What year was it? Hold on, I got all my notes. It was let me see here. October 4th, 2011. And this was out of Kansas City, Missouri. I have like 20 different dates here. I tried to put together a timeline, but that didn't work. I mean, the information that just kept popping up is ridiculous. But after putting the maps together, I like the John Tanko, aka Jersey. I like that theory the best. Possibly mixed with some neighbors who thought that Lisa wasn't being treated properly at home or being parented properly, and may have decided to take her. Okay, let's go here.
Happened to little baby Lisa Irwin. She's the 10-month-old who simply vanished 5 years ago.
And her parents recently sat down with our investigative reporter, Angie Racono. Brad and Ellen, the Irwins still live in the same home. And as we showed you at 6, there are posters and banners covering the house. They've never been taken down. And inside, Lisa's crib is still in her bedroom. It's packed with all the presents for the birthdays and the holidays that she has missed. 5 years. Tonight, we take a look at where the clues lead now.
She's missing. Her name is Lisa Irwin. We're running around the house and we're screaming for her. I said, call 911, call 911.
Obviously, they are our main focus. I'm not calling them suspects.
What's going on? Where's she at?
A pair of dogs, a cadaver dog picked up on the scent of death at the foot of their bed. But I'm not quite sure. I think the private investigator discusses how it's just impossible for the timeline for there even to be that type of a smell to even exist. But we can talk about that and debate that when that topic comes up here in a few.
Is she gone?
Now they're looking for a body and not a baby.
We all want the safe return of baby Lisa.
We need her home.
And I'm still stuck at age 1 when she liked to party and when she was barely walking, and now she's going to be 6 and possibly in school. And we've missed out on everything.
I know you guys both firmly believe Lisa is alive and Lisa is out
Absolutely.
That's a very interesting comment by Molly. Healthy, white, blue-eyed infant would be very prized for adopted parents. Sadly, it's true. I'm adopted. My mom said they could specify eye color, etc. Boy list was longer. Yeah, so I guess that if that's something that is happening, through the adoption process. I mean, why wouldn't some, I know in a way this is definitely sadistic, right? You don't just steal somebody's child because you think they're not being parented, or that their parents are awful people. So, I mean, I'm really not exactly sure what to believe here, but I do see where you're going with that, Molly.
Not a doubt in my mind. And I'm her mom. I have my mother's intuition, and I have never once felt for a second that she is been hurt or gone.
I believe that. I believe her when she says that. So if the family is involved, I think it was maybe an accident. And when the husband came home, he saw what the wife had done and may have even kept that a secret from her, trying to protect her, saying, obviously it's an accident. I don't want her living with this. And then he does something. But I don't think that that's the case. I don't think the family is involved. However, I do think that they look extremely guilty. They act extremely guilty. But remember, guys, there's not a handbook. There's not a, hey, victimhood for dummies. You don't go check out a book at the library and, you need to act this way, or when the cameras are on, you need to do this. No, you're just thrown into it. There's no way for these people. There's no right way to act. So, in my opinion, a lot of family members who had just been part of a horrible crime like this, they all look guilty to me, because it's a weird situation. You got cameras. That you don't want to talk to these people, but you have to because it's helpful. You need the attention. You don't want to talk to a bunch of creepy strangers who are just, trying to get a story. Investigators who are looking at you, telling you to take a polygraph, like, you're gonna look guilty. So I just want everybody to know that they're supposed to look guilty, because they're pretty much they're under a mental health issue right now.
5 years later, they still beg for information.
Think of how much she deserves to be with the people that love her the most.
Or think of yourself and take the money and leave town. Whatever it's going to take.
They think she was kidnapped, then sold.
This was not a one-person deal.
There's still a $100,000 reward in the case. Here's what happened in 2011. Jeremy Irwin returns home from work around 4 a.m. The front door is unlocked. His daughter is missing from her crib. He wakes his wife and calls 911 from his work phone because the family's cell phones are reportedly missing. Published reports say those phones stayed close to the family home and were used throughout the night. The parents originally suspected someone came in through a front window or front door and then made their way back to Lisa's room. The phones were charging in the kitchen. Nothing else was taken. An Amber Alert was issued, and investigators swarmed the house and neighborhood searching for little Lisa. They searched wells, combed fields, and one cadaver dog reportedly smelled something in the parents' bedroom.
Try to think of anything or anyone or any reason this might have happened.
It soon became obvious investigators.
Hey, Jerry, good to see you. Happy belated Christmas, brother. Same to you, my friend. Same
Suspected Lisa's mother.
Did you fail a lie detector test?
No, absolutely not. I was told I failed as a tactic.
All right. Did you guys hear that? So she didn't fail the lie detector test, but investigators during her interview or interrogation is really what it was, told her that she did. Imagine that shit. So we think about all these tactics, and we read all these different transcripts from interviews and interrogations, and we hear what law enforcement, what they say. We like to take it to heart. Well, what about this? We like to use it for our confirmation bias, right? Well, they said this, so definitely we wanted to lean into our narrative. So you have to be very self-aware. But it's very strange to hear her say that. It kind of breaks my heart, but I like to hear her say that she understands. I understand why they did it. I understand why they're lying to me about failing the polygraph. I understand why they're looking at me. I want them to.
And I understand why they do that.
It's still difficult to talk to him. difficult to hear some of their theories. And then after all that is all said and done, you still have to have a workable relationship with these guys down there at the police department.
Deborah drank with the neighbor the night her daughter vanished. That information cut both ways. Some speculated she may have accidentally killed her daughter, then hid the body. But others wondered, how could a...
See, now, the reason people are speculating that she may have killed her daughter by smothering her or something like that while she was drinking, because that's right. That's Occam's razor, right? That's what's there. It's right there on the surface. It's right in front of us. But the facts just don't. Sometimes when it comes to Occam's razor, you want to have on the table all of the facts. You know, right now, when we think of Occam's razor, we have a table filled with speculation, a lot of what ifs, some names that may or may not even be involved. And we're looking at all that. We're saying, well, Occam's razor is this. Well, first of all, you need to make sure what you're setting out in front of you are 100% factual information and relating to the case.
drunk person commit the perfect crime.
Well, my gut tells me without any doubt that somebody unknown to the family came into this home, was in and out of the home very, very quickly.
Attorney Cindy Short represented the family in those early days and remains in close contact with them. She calls the parents credible and heartbroken.
And there's an open field beyond these trees.
Short conducted her own investigation. She explored other leads where neighbors reported seeing a man and a baby the night Lisa went missing.
So our prayer is that once the baby left this part of the community or Clay Como, that she ended up somewhere safe and warm. Statistically, that's probably not the outcome, but it's certainly the one we pray for.
One tip that became very public involved this man, John Tanko. He's a handyman with a criminal record who worked near the Irwins at that time. He dated this woman, Megan Wright, who says her phone was called by one of those missing cell phones the night Lisa vanished.
Yeah, this is the guy right here. Now, investigators actually went to the neighbor's house that he was watching over and checking on the sprinkler system for them, and while they were out of town, and they came and they took moldings. They took a cast of his footprints. So I'm pretty sure they think he's their suspect as well. Why would they do that? Of course, they would do it just to check, but I mean, they obviously have their eyes on this guy too.
Wright says others had access to her phone. Kansas City police report Tanko cooperated with investigators, and they are satisfied with his answers.
I do not believe this was a stranger abduction.
Former FBI agent Michael Tabman says kidnapping a 10-month-old doesn't make sense. Statistically, stranger abductions generally involve middle school girls.
Here we go with the statistics. So if anybody can look that up, and if I remember, I'll try to. It's just so much information. We're just not going to have time. I need help. So if anybody can find those statistics and punch them in.
Doesn't make sense. Statistically, stranger abductions generally involve middle school girls, like 11-year-old JC Dugard, 12-year-old Polly Klass, and 14-year-old Elizabeth Smart. Lisa's age was tough to explain.
Why would this child at this age be disappearing now?
Well, the case that popped into my head when they were mentioning statistics is this case here. Let me see if I can slide this over. Cash Garden. You guys remember this case? I mean, he just walked right in there, grabbed the baby, and killed him.
Years have rolled by. Age progression photos show what she may have looked like at 3 and now 5.
If she's out there and she can see this, I would just want her to know that we love her, we miss her a great deal, and we're going to find her, and we're not going to stop looking for her.
I love you, Lisa.
We will get her back home where she belongs one of these days.
So where you guys at on this case so far? I think it's easy to point the finger at the parents, because I think it's just awkward. You're just permanently now in an awkward situation. I'm starting to think if you're acting normal, if a tragedy like this hits your family, if you're acting normal and you just look normal, to me, you're more suspicious. Now, if you're looking guilty as shit, well, yeah, I'm going to look at you, but to me, it's expected. I mean, you're half out of your mind, right? Good to see you, 63 Clocks. Lisa Branham. She was 10 months old. October 4th, 2011, Kansas City, Missouri. She was only 10 months old. 63 Kooks. Damn. What's up, Devoted? How does a 10-month-old just disappear? My babies were with me at all times, and not one time did they disappear. Yeah, she was at her neighbor's, and I don't know if it's the direct neighbor. I think it's like close by. But I mean, she was out drinking. She was getting faded. And not once did she try to lie about that. A guilty person would have tried to conceal that fact. Molly, here's a good comment. I think the mom knew her drinking would bring criticism, and she had a not squeaky clean past. Not horrible, more troubled teen kind of stuff, but people will judge how you parent no matter what you do. Exactly. And I think what Molly's referring to as a troubled teen is after this case gained notoriety and started kind of circulating the public opinion, some of her old friends came forward and were like talking about some bad experiences and how she was kind of a troublemaker as a teen, So I know all about that, guys. I used to drive stolen vehicles to my 8th grade class and park in the teacher parking area. 13 years old. I know all too well about a troubled past. Oh, man. Everyone thought the Australian parents of Cleo Smith looked guilty, but they were completely innocent. Well, also, we're going to talk about another story here about a Greek mystery girl. Now, there were some folks who were arrested during a drug bust, and they had this child with her, blonde hair, blue eyes. Or red hair. Reddish. No, I think red hair, yeah. Really, really bright red hair. About the same age as what Lisa should have been. Looked very similar to this age progression you see right there. But come to find out, after they accused these Greek gypsies of kidnapping and like all this stuff, they finally did a DNA test and found out that the woman was her mother. But I'll still show you guys that report here in a second. Let's go here to Megyn Kelly pressing the parents of Lisa Irwin. So Megyn Kelly assumes it's them. She's not.
Let's talk about
either that or she's going to feel it's the need to press them.
That day.
I had a
Good interview here.
Several glasses of wine.
Let me start it over.
Let's talk about the wine. How much did you consume that day?
I had several glasses of wine.
When you say several, more than 3?
Yeah, but that has nothing to do with her.
More than 5?
Probably.
More than 10?
No.
Was it just wine or was there
just
other
wine.
alcohol?
Just wine. Lisa was in bed and the boys were laying down watching a movie with the neighbor's daughter.
Were you drunk?
Yeah.
Do you have a drinking problem?
No.
See, what do you guys make of all that? You think that has anything to do with what happened to Lisa? So the father is at work. She's next door. She had 2 boys. So Lisa had 2 older brothers. Apparently they were on the couch watching television. I'm not sure if they were home or what was going on, but the story is that somebody came through the window of Lisa's home and took her. But when this gentleman here, Lisa's father, arrived home, all the lights were on. So I can totally see somebody thinking that Lisa's mother was still over at the neighbor's house. If that group was still there, right? Let's say you can hear them out there in the garage or in the backyard. You can hear music. You can hear talking. Maybe he assumed that she was still there. Goes into the home. I have a feeling that's what this guy did. This John Tanko Jersey. I think because he was already, he had a warrant out for his arrest for burglary. And even after this, he ended up getting arrested for another burglary charge. So I'm thinking that's what happened. He went in there to maybe burglarize the home and saw the baby. And that's why all the lights were on. He took their cell phones. But if you look at all of it, the totality of it all, it almost looks as if he was hired to do this. And he may have just been looking for some other things to steal in the process of taking this baby.
I don't think so.
Some folks are going to have an issue with you having
I'm sure they are.
more than 5 drinks while you're looking after a little baby and 2 little boys.
She was sleeping. You know, I don't see the problem in me having my grown-up time. I take good care of my kids. I keep my house clean. I do their laundry. I kiss their boo-boos. I fix them food. I'm involved in their school stuff. I mean, to me, there's nothing wrong with me doing what I want to do after dark. As soon as I'm done drinking, I go right to bed.
Is that what happened on this night?
Right, which is why I don't do it till my kids are in bed.
Does it happen every night?
No.
How many times a week would you say?
Maybe a couple times a week.
How drunk were you?
Just drunk.
I mean, were you slurring your words? Were you stumbling?
I don't think so, no.
Is it possible you had a blackout?
It's a possibility. I mean, just like anybody else, when you drink,
Molly says, parents remind me of Mark Klass in his view of investigate me to death and get it out of the way. I'll be an open book for you. Find my daughter. Yep, here's my DNA. If you need me to come in, I'll come in at any point. I mean, look at the difference between her and the Hawks. Remember that? They're getting all frustrated. They were acting like they were cooperating, but they weren't being very cooperative. They were acting irritated by being in investigation. I can understand you looking beat and tired and worn out, frustrated, but arguing with investigators and, things like that. I just want you guys to see the difference in how the Hawks, who now have been arrested for Crystal's murder, look how they were acting, and then look how these folks are acting. They look guilty, but when you hear them and see their body language, I don't see guilt. But when you see people cry, it's like a mixture of frustration, mental health, annoyance, it's just hard to wear that on a facial expression and not look somewhat strange.
you don't remember the things that happened and stuff like that. But yeah, it's a possibility, but it once again has nothing to do with my daughter.
Is it possible you blacked out and something happened to Lisa during that time?
No.
And to me, if we were going to follow Occam's razor, I think that would be it. She comes home drunk, picks up the baby, come sleep with me, come lay with me. But I'm so drunk, I don't realize that I've rolled over on you. Husband comes home early in the morning, opens the door, sees what has happened. To me, that seems like, I guess, the most logical theory, but considering all of the facts, doesn't make sense to me.
Why?
I go to sleep every single time, and everybody knows me every time I drink anything. We've had get-togethers with family over the house, and everybody will be drinking and hanging out, playing pool and stuff. And I will, once I've had enough to drink, I just get really tired. I go right upstairs and go right to bed. I don't even say bye to people.
Not only does Deborah Bradley admit that she was drunk on the night in question, she also told America Live that she was taking prescription medication at the time. Did you take any drugs?
No.
Are you a drug user?
No.
Are you on any drugs?
No.
Nothing.
I take anxiety medication, but I mean, it's not narcotic, no.
Even before this episode, this event?
Yeah.
Okay. And were you taking it that night?
Yeah, I take it every morning.
And in a bombshell development, Deborah is now changing her story about the critical night in question, about last seeing her daughter at 10:30 p.m. that evening. Deborah now claims for the first time that, in fact, the last time she saw her child alive that night was 4 hours earlier than she has been telling police. When you went in at 10:30 after the neighbor left, what did you do?
Probably went right to my room.
Why do you say probably?
Because sometimes I check on her. Well, most of the time I check on her. And then the boys, their room is right next to each other, and I sneak in and make sure, you know, the boys had been awake, and I had went in there and told them they could come sleep in my bed. And so I'm assuming that I went and checked on her too, but I don't know.
You don't remember?
No.
So it's possible you did not check on her before you went to bed at 10:30.
Yeah, but there's no way that anybody could have got in.
So the last time you saw your daughter alive in your home was when you put her down at 6:40.
When I put her down, yeah.
And the
So that's going to be 6:40 at night, guys.
last time you saw her alive was when?
Was at 5:20 when I had left for work.
Jeremy, what's your reaction to hearing this back and forth about Deborah drinking and being drunk and blacking out and not remembering everything that happened the night that Lisa disappeared?
I don't really have much of a reaction. I mean, regardless of how much she was drinking or if she was drunk or if she supposedly blacked out or whatever, it doesn't change who you are and what you do.
And it doesn't end there. What was the question that Deborah failed on her police polygraph? Did the police ever accuse Jeremy, the father? What did police tell the couple about their cell phones being tracked by investigators? And who was watching the children when Deborah bought that box of wine and the baby wipes?
See, she's even using it for her confirmation bias. When I say using it, I'm talking about the polygraph test. So she says, I wonder which question she failed. Well, what you should have said was, I wonder what question the investigators told her she failed, right? Because according to Lisa's mother, she did not fail the test. She was only told that as a tactic, which we all know happens. And even she understood it. Angela says they would have to know a baby was even in that house. Not necessarily. They could have been searching the rooms and taken the baby before the mother even returned home. Because there was some eyewitnesses who saw a man carrying a baby that was only in a diaper in the middle of the, early in the morning hours, late at night. And something like that's unplanned, somebody walking around with a baby. There was multiple witnesses, by the way, in different locations near the home. There was also a dumpster at the time that she most likely went missing that was caught on fire right behind a home that this Jersey character was working. And yeah, there's just a lot to this story, and we haven't even really gotten started. I'm just using all of these reports to kind of give you guys all of the basic information, and we can start tying it all together. Okay, let's go here.
Nearly 10 days since 10-month-old Lisa Irwin vanished. The FBI poring over this surveillance tape from a Kansas City grocery store. It shows the baby's mother, Deborah Bradley, and an unidentified man just hours before Bradley says she last saw her baby girl in her crib.
It's her brother.
The feds questioning a store clerk about how Miss Bradley was acting as they and the police dig for clues in baby Lisa's whereabouts. Judge Janine Pirro is host of Justice with Judge Janine. She joins us live from Kansas City, where she has returned for further investigation. Judge, thanks so much for being back.
Not
on
that
the
I've
program.
seen.
I want to talk.
Anything I like says the parents have not used the past tense about the child, have they? Not that I've noticed. There was one of the witnesses saying that why are they looking for a dead person and not a baby? But I couldn't track down what she was referring to. So it's funny that you brought that up because I was looking for any interviews where they kind of did the past tense or referred to her as a victim or no longer living. But then again, they could be taking precautions for appearance, right? Like with all the gifts in the room and like making it an obvious thing that, hey, we're assuming that she's alive. That could be part of their cover up. But, you just never know at this point.
To you about, because we heard this existed and now they've released it and made it public. And the police, when I spoke with them the other day, seemed to be, you never know, they seem to be steering us off of this, saying, oh, well, we've investigated and that's all we have to say about it, suggesting it didn't go anywhere. But what do we know?
Well, what we do know and what I know from my law enforcement sources, Megan, is that video surveillance includes not only Debbie, the mother, but her brother, who apparently took her to the supermarket where she bought not just wine, Megan, but baby wipes. And our sources are telling us that this was cleared, that it was totally innocuous, totally harmless, and that the mother did not have a license, which is why she had her own brother drive her to the supermarket. So the behavior, how she got there with her brother, and the fact that she was with her brother seemed to be consistent with a normal day, according to the Irwins, as
What
it
was the
relates to the day that
timestamp on
poor
that?
baby Lisa.
Was it 4 p.m.? Okay. Just before 5. Okay. So she must have ran to the store right before the husband was leaving to work. She's like, okay, let me go so the kids aren't home alone. Come home, get all, make our purchase. And then when my husband leaves, we'll go over to the neighbor's house.
License, which is why she had her own brother drive her to the supermarket. So the behavior, how she got there with her brother, and the fact that she was with her brother seemed to be consistent with a normal day, according to the Irwins, as it relates to the day that poor baby Lisa went missing. Now, their story has been consistent all along, Megan, and that is that she had a friend over, that it was a normal day, that the kids watched videotapes. She put the baby to bed at
This would have to be more like a Casey Anthony situation if the mother was involved. So if the mother was involved and the cadaver dogs picked up on the scent of death, that means that the baby was probably deceased way before, maybe sometime shortly after the father went to work. So there's something going on with the timeline where it makes it almost impossible for a cadaver dog to pick up on that kind of a scent there. And there are been some false positives and things like that in the past. So if the dog did pick up on the scent of death and she's no longer living and the dogs are picking up on that, she would have to be dead much earlier. I believe in like a Casey Anthony situation where the child dies, the mother's totally aware of it, and she still goes out and has a good time. But I don't think that's what's going on here.
10:30, and the next thing she knows, her husband wakes her up when all the lights are on in the house. Now, also what's interesting is that the 911 call is consistent again with the story that the Irwins have been telling us, and that is that he comes home from work at 4 in the morning, all the lights are on, it seems like his screen is bent, and he's not able to close the windows, and that the baby's door is open to her room. So there has been no inconsistencies here, Megan, which is why so many people are stumped.
No inconsistencies, but there are some red flags, and you unearthed a lot of these in your interview. We're watching videotape of it with the parents over the weekend, Judge. I want to talk to you about a couple of points that you discussed with them. She claims she went to bed the lights in the house were off. She can't remember whether she locked the front door. She said she closed the doors to the bedroom, but she had a baby monitor on. You also asked, I thought, a very smart question, which is, do you have a family dog? They said they did. They said it's a small lab mix, but they keep it in the backyard. So you've got her saying, essentially suggesting that the intruder came, turned on all the lights in the house, that she did not hear the intruder on a baby monitor, which, you know, I mean, I got one in my room right now. You hear the baby turning over. I mean,
I want to welcome in Violet. Shout out to Grunge Truck, Saska, True Crime and Other Stuff. All the people I missed. CJK, 63 Clocks, Violet. Welcome in, everybody.
you hear a lot. And that the family dog didn't bark. I mean, there was nothing to cause any alarm, even though the person's coming in the house, maybe through the window, turning on all the lights and stealing a baby.
Yeah, there's no question, Megan, that there are a lot of questions here. And she did say for the first time in my interview that she had a baby monitor on and that the baby was ill. And Megan, you and I both know as mothers that when your baby is sick, your ear is, I mean, you never really sleep that well. But she said she didn't hear anything on the monitor. And what's interesting is that I've spoken to the neighbors, all of whom think this family is wonderful, by the way, but who said that they did have that lab mix that was a barking dog and either knew the person who came in, which is very interesting, or, you know, or didn't hear anything. He was in the back of the home. So there are questions, Megan, and everyone is stumped here. That's why, you know, all the sexual predators have been spoken to. And what's kind of interesting, Megan, is they said to the police, look, we expected that you'd be coming, but they haven't gotten any leads from there. But, you know, we continue to come out here and to try to follow all of the leads that we're hearing about. I mean, from going into wells and ditches and rappelling from cliffs. I mean, there isn't anything that the police haven't done. But what we do know is that the family has indicated that they're putting together a team of 2 lawyers and an investigator, although she has not lawyered up yet. And I don't know that she will. And to her credit, they seem to be willing to talk to everyone to keep this story alive.
Yeah, you think after like 5 years, 10 years, if you're guilty, you know, that's enough. You're like, I've done enough. I'm going to go ahead and move on with my life. I can't keep playing this charade, right? But then again, hey, the things people will do to stay out of prison. Yeah, I just don't see a need to sell the baby. Let me see. We got a couple more videos here, and then we'll move on to the articles. Maybe we'll go to some maps first. That way we can kind of visualize that area a little better. Let's see. Let me go to the important ones here. Okay, we'll do these last 2, and then we'll move on.
Fox News alert, potentially big new allegations in the disappearance of Missouri baby Lisa Irwin. We are now hearing reports that a local handyman known as Jersey reportedly bragged that he got
his name is John Tanko. That's his alias.
paid $300 to steal this baby. John Paserno is the Irwin family's local attorney, and he's with me now. John, welcome back to the program. All right,
Thank you.
I want to underscore that this is, you know, at least triple hearsay. But walk us through how this allegation first surfaced.
The allegation came to us from the mother of an individual who said that her daughter had knowledge that she was with somebody who claims that Jersey made that statement earlier.
Okay, so
it happened
Jersey,
the night after the vigil.
Jersey is according to this person, Jersey's with this guy the night after the vigil for baby Lisa, and Jersey says to the guy what?
From what I heard from the girl firsthand when I interviewed her was that for $300 that he helped get baby Lisa.
He helped get her.
Yes.
So somebody paid him.
Okay, you guys hearing what they're saying? They're saying that a person heard another person say, or heard Jersey say that he was paid $300 to help take the baby. Now, with all of the information, that makes a lot of sense, guys. And really, that's all there is. Because of time, we're going to cut that one short. But that is the news from there, and we'll take a look at that. that's what we wanted to glean from that one. We'll rush to this one real quick before we go to the maps.
An
This ties in.
exclusive interview tonight with Mary Hurt. She is a neighbor of Lisa's family. Police, I understand, checked her property for suspicious footprints. Mary, first of all, thank you for joining us tonight. I know you are here to be of service in the frantic effort to find this adorable, precious, helpless child. What do you know about this man known as Jersey? Police say he is not a suspect in baby
John
Lisa's
Tanko.
disappearance. However, you have some absolutely extraordinary information about what happened that night, the night the child disappeared, and what.
Okay, I want you guys to notice here what they're doing. Now they're actually making molds of the footprints back here.
What you saw, tell us.
You see that? It's exactly what they're doing.
For our next door neighbor that lived obviously next door to us, and he was around a lot, and we got to know.
See right there, you can see him kind of flattening it out over the top. So it'll be flat on the top, and when they flip it over, it'll have the footprint on it in a cast.
Him as an acquaintance, and he, talked to us on many occasions, and our neighbor told us that the night that baby went missing, the man who was seen coming up the street came and went on our property and through our next door neighbor's gate and up, we're going up towards, there's a hill that goes up towards some townhomes that are behind us.
Now, what do you know about Jersey? What are your thoughts about him? I understand that he is behind bars on a burglary charge of some sort. But again, he's not considered a suspect in this case. But do you have any thoughts about him, his character, his personality?
Well, he definitely was suspicious and kind of shady, I would say. He kind of just comes out of nowhere. He never is specific on where he's been or where he's going. You kind of see him around the neighborhood and just pop in and talk to you. He was always friendly, but he definitely let us know in the last probably week before all of this happened that he was wanted for an outstanding warrant that he had for his arrest, which was kind of.
So this guy, John Tanko, aka Jersey, would just kind of pop in and out. Like, hey, well, where are you coming from? Yeah, up the street. So he was basically homeless, living in that area. And not too far away, we're gonna listen to a story where they found some diapers in a bag, and also witnesses seen a man carrying a child with no clothing, just a diaper, right around the same area. So we will look into that as well.
Of a shock to us. So definitely.
Did you ever see him with?
And the diapers were actually found in an abandoned home. So that kind of goes with the transient. Maybe that's where he was staying. They never really knew where he lived, where he was coming and going. They had no clue. They just knew he would pop up and offer help, be friendly. And he was probably casing all of these properties, watching them party all together in one home so that he can go and snoop through the houses, knowing that nobody's there. That's the best way to do your recon, right? Go in there and befriend everybody, kind of like Home Alone. You remember that movie where you had Joe Pesci as the cop, and he's going to all the homes and he's asking about their automatic timers and their lights. It's kind of what I feel like this guy was doing. But for them to find diapers and a man's clothing in an abandoned home less than a mile away, it kind of goes in with the John Tanko, aka Jersey theory.
The woman who was apparently at one point his girlfriend, who says that she got a call from the phone that was stolen at the very same time, purportedly, that the child was taken from the home.
Yes, and I've actually spoken to her as well. She was often at the neighbor's house hanging out with him, and the neighbor had taken her home a couple times, so she was definitely around. I definitely saw her.
And how do you know you saw her? Is it because of her hair color? Because she has a distinctive hair color.
Well, her hair color was different then, but you talk to someone once you can see the facial. I've seen pictures of her in the media since then. As soon as I saw her, I was like, that is his girlfriend, because we already knew her name and we knew her age, and it all fit. And seeing a picture of her on the news, definitely it was her. But she has since changed. I mean, her hair was not pink when she was hanging around at that house.
Mary Hurt, you are the neighbor of this missing child's family, and you said you had.
Let's go to Saska's comment here. To me, that's bad reporting. They aren't helping when they are being so judgmental. The mom seems to come across honest to me so far. But I mean, think about it. Look at the comments that we have here. Like, they're blaming her too. So they need to address that, because you can't blame the mother for doing something that millions of people do every night, probably, right? And they don't have their children abducted. So you can't blame the mother for drinking, even though, yeah, you could say, well, if she wasn't drinking, she would have heard something. You don't know that. You know, it's like victim blaming in a way. And I know that's not what you guys are trying to do, but if you think about it, that's what's happening. And I've made that mistake plenty of times. It's hindsight, you know. Everything's 2020. We look back, we could have done this, we should have done that, you know, kind of like the Delphi case. Well, why'd you let your kids go walking out there? Well, it's a beautiful trail and it's in a friendly area, you know. Hindsight is 2020. So you guys be careful with the victim shaming in the chat. Not that you're doing it on purpose. I'm guilty as well. Just be careful. We're going to try to avoid that.
Had sort of an eye line or right next to the home where this Jersey character, a homeless man who did yard work, was doing yard work possibly that night for a family that was on vacation. Now, what did police do? I understand they took some footprint molds. Tell us about that.
Right. Well, the way that the sprinklers were laid out, it made an area that was kind of muddy there, you know, dirt filled that made it into mud. So they took some footprints the next morning. Other than that, we hadn't had any other rain, so it was pretty dry everywhere else. But Jersey was in the area that day. So you're saying
at the neighbor's house that he was working at, they took footprints. What were Jersey?
And you guys, don't worry. We're going to point out all of these locations. I've mapped it all out for you guys. So just be patient on that. We're watching all of these videos so we can kind of cram all of the information. Then when we get to the maps, the articles where people took some extra time to fill us in with those details, we'll start fine tuning. But right now, this is basically an overview.
These movements, to your knowledge, that day.
Well, I saw him earlier in the afternoon between 12 and 1. And then when I got home at 9:30, the sprinklers were still on, and they were in the same exact spot, which is extremely odd. And then when we next checked at 11, they were off. So we know or assume that he had to have been there to turn those off at 11 o'clock.
Did you see him? When was the last time you saw him?
About between 12 or 1 that afternoon before I left to go run some errands.
What's up, Hathers?
Okay, so hours before, at least 5 hours before about 5 hours before the mom goes and gets wine from the store and comes back with a box of wine.
Right.
Okay, so he was in the area that day, but we don't know exactly how long he was there. However, based on what you know about your neighbor who was out of town, if the sprinklers were moved, you would assume that he was there to move the sprinklers because he was the one taking care of that yard.
Yes, that's correct.
And then tell us about.
They have the box of wine here, 20 glasses. I don't know about you guys, but you can get really messed up off of wine. You know, that's what, like probably 3 bottles in a box of wine. Oh, 5 liters. It's maybe 2.5. But yeah, I mean, it's no joke. You can really get messed up off of it.
The dumpster and how far it's away from this house that's next to you, because there was a fire. I think it was about 2:30 in the morning at that dumpster. What do you know about that dumpster?
Well, that dumpster, if you walk to the top of the hill in my backyard, you can see it. It's, you know, I live a hill in the backyard, and then it goes down the other side, and there's townhomes down there, and that's where that dumpster fire was.
And so out of nowhere, the very night this child disappears, there's a fire in a dumpster behind the house where this guy is working, who just happens to be the ex-boyfriend of a woman who gets a phone call from a phone that was purportedly taken from the house at the time the child's kidnapped. Boy, it's,
did you guys hear that? So remember, the cell phones are missing. And an ex-girlfriend of this guy, John Tanko Jersey, was called by one of those phones. Now, the call didn't go through, but it was placed to her. It didn't go through because I believe that one of the phones needed to pay their bill. So it rang, and then the answer machine popped up saying, hey, you need to pay your bill. Okay, let's see. I know I'm missing something. I think we're going to skip the Greek mystery girl because that's been debunked. It actually is their daughter. So we're not going to go there. If you guys want to look, just look up Lisa Irwin's parents ask about Greek mystery girl.
Exclusive interview for you tonight. Bill Stanton, the private investigator for baby Lisa, the family searching for baby Lisa. He says his real client is the truth. So, Bill Stanton, what do you think about this mystery man? Could this mystery man be the key to solving this case?
Well, yet to be determined. I think it is compelling. I think the simple fact that you have 3 separate witnesses all saying something to the effect of they saw someone carrying a child that wasn't wrapped up in a blanket, that wasn't necessarily wrapped up in baby clothes, is compelling. Baby clothes is compelling. These 3 witnesses didn't know each other. Now, I'm not the KCPD. I'm not the FBI. I haven't had exposure to these witnesses. I haven't followed up and know the validity or their backgrounds.
This is like
But
2 in the morning.
From what I'm hearing, this is quite interesting. And this falls in directly with the timeline that we have been talking about since this first occurred.
Well, on the other side of the coin, the affidavit saying the cadaver dogs hit on a scent inside the home near the bed in Deborah, the mother's room.
Yeah, and I need to get the
listen to this from
affidavit.
ABC's Good Morning
We'll have
America.
that on part 2.
Dog alerted
I have it here on my
on
list.
one side or the other of the bed, but as you notice, as you walk around, all the carpeting is intact. That is, it was not cut out to preserve whatever it was that the dog allegedly hit on.
Bill Stanton, private investigator searching for baby Lisa.
So he's going to comment here. I like his comments because I did look up a few different cases of false positives and where the dogs are being mishandled. You know, they all have a handler, and sometimes the communication is being misinterpreted between the animal and the handlers on top of everything. So
Here tonight exclusively, what do you make of the cadaver dog hitting on the floor in the mother's bedroom?
Well, you know, I have my own personal and professional theories. I'll keep them to myself.
That's what we'd like to know.
Why?
That's what you're here
because
for,
I'm
buddy.
not the defense attorney. I'm not here to defend the family.
Well,
I'm
no,
here for the
I'm
truth.
not suggesting you're a defense attorney. I just want to find out, what do you think?
To me, it doesn't fall in with the timeline. I mean, the people that I've spoken to that have worked these cases in the past, that have handled these type of dogs, you know.
Hey, what's up, Diamonds? Diamond says, tired of taking care of an infant and some adult beverages on top of that, I would sleep like a rock. Honestly, if I had 10 glasses of wine, now what'd she say, 5? Which, you know, she probably had more. But even 5, I mean, I might just pass right out.
There are a lot of false positives that, you know, more times than not, the mistake has happened by the handler. Now, let me make note. I am not questioning the KCPD or the FBI, but what I'm questioning.
Lisa, good comment. So far, I'm leaning towards somebody who knew she was out of her home drinking. That's my Occam's razor. Yeah, I think the facts point at Mr. John Tanko and a conspiracy. Maybe he was hired to take the child. Not exactly sure. But him telling somebody that he was hired to take it could be his half truth, right? He may have felt the heat coming down on him. I've been investigated. People are starting to look at me. So he tells somebody, well, tells him a half truth. Well, yeah, I took the child, but I was hired by somebody, knowing damn well he probably just went in there, burglarized the home, and found the child and took the child because they found diapers in an abandoned home. I believe they found clothing that was burned in a dumpster right behind where Jersey was working. The neighbors of Lisa, who were out of town, they hired him, and just behind there apparently was a dumpster fire, and some witnesses not much further away saw somebody carrying a child just in a diaper, and they all reported it because it was very strange. It was in the middle of the night, better yet in the morning, 2 a.m. I believe.
Is the timeline. Tell me when this child was killed and placed on the floor and for how long. You have to remember there were
No,
two
Molly.
boys in the house at the time. So what's to be said is this mother accidentally or on purpose murdered this child, contained herself, not waking up the children, and left the baby there for enough time for a dog to hit upon it. For me, my personal feeling is it did not happen. I understand I am still looking at the family. I am not totally discounting them, but I have yet to hear credible information or proof that would lead me to them. I have one eye on them, but I am more looking to the outside.
Yeah, that makes sense. And I think even the parents would understand that. Because there's no DNA. It's not like they found a body. There's no way to really tie the child to anybody right now. So I think it's important to find out if the child is living. They should still be searching that area. All right, I think that's going to be it for the videos. Looks like I have 4 articles, 2 short, 3 long. But let's go to the maps here. Here, let's go through some of these photos real quick. So this is inside the home. Just a few days after. I think this is the bedroom where they picked up that scent. So what they're saying is that somebody broke into a window. I don't know if it was in her room or not. There's Lisa. Look at those eyes. Bright blue. This is Mike Thompson. He was a witness. He's one of the people who saw the guy holding a baby. He reported it to law enforcement. Okay, so there's the Irwin home. Hey, Squeaky says hiring someone to steal a baby would actually make a lot of sense. That would explain why the cops have no leads and no ties to an outsider. Totally random. Yeah, and if they hired this John Tanko guy, I think it's possible that he might talk. If he's in prison right now, doing some hard time for all his burglaries, I think that investigators might want to get somebody up in that jail. I think a good interview or put somebody undercover in his jail cell or get a CI. Put a CI with him. Somebody smart. Somebody who's willing to help. That happens all the time. Maybe they can get him to say something. Like, oh, where did you put her? Or is she alive? No, she's not living anymore. Well, what did you do with her? Get somebody in there to gain his trust. Yep, totally random. Person who hires pays cash, has knowledge of the family, maybe sells baby or moves out of state real fast, sets up new life with baby, or is middleman for another family. Yeah, we'll have to get those statistics next time. I just don't feel they're accurate about that. A lot of the true crime cases we cover involve infants. What's up, Chorizo? I'd lose my mind if my baby was missing and heard that info. Yeah, I just don't think, I think instantly you become mentally ill. So I don't know if you can even think clearly. I think I would kind of spaz out a little bit. Chorizo, too coincidental. Yeah, this is beyond sad. I don't know what to make of it. Okay. So here we have Lisa's home. We have a witness, and I'm not exactly sure what this witness saw, but I believe it was a man carrying a baby. This is the neighbor's home where Jersey was working. I believe this is the witness that saw a man. Okay, I know which witness this is. A witness saw a man going through this backyard here, like going through these houses and making their way over in this direction. So I believe this person here is a witness to that. She said she saw somebody going through her backyard and then through her neighbor's yard. And then they went and got the casting of the footprints back here. Or no, they actually got the casting from this home here. Sorry. So why would they go get Jersey's footprints if they didn't suspect him? So Lisa's home, witness seeing a man walking through these yards and into the backyards of these homes. The home where Jersey was working. This is actually an opening here, and there's a dumpster that sits right here. Age 50, arrested in KC for meth possession and public intoxication. I'll have to look for a middle initial. I looked, I barely found his name. Everybody wanted to refer to him as Jersey. No, we're going to call him John Tanko, a.k.a. Jersey. It's a shit ton of wine. Chemically, the worst hangover. I could definitely see that. Nah, she was taken for sure. I think she was taken by somebody. Hey, what's up, Kev? Hope you had a great Christmas. Very strange case. Mind-melting mystery. And we have heard a lot of mothers who say, well, I feel like they're still alive, or we're holding out hope, things like that. But Lisa's mother, I believe her. She seems to truly believe that. She doesn't seem to be in denial, which is understandable. I mean, why would you think that your child is dead if you don't know? Like, why would you think that? You wouldn't. Chorizo, parents are allowed to be human. They're allowed to drink, socialize, etc. Doesn't make them horrible, abusive parents. Maybe a little irresponsible what she did, but I mean, that's happening all over the world. You can't blame that irresponsibility or bad parenting, which I do agree, but it's probably not as, I don't think it's what led to this. It's not why this happened. You know, if there's some creep that broke into her home and stole her child, that's who's to blame. You know, she could have been just asleep in her own room and that happened. Do I believe that? No, I believe whoever abducted her daughter um, knew that she possibly wasn't there, or knew that she was next door, or thought she was next door. Black market. Violet says, "Yeah, they should talk to that. Yeah, they need to get somebody in that jail cell. Somebody who's willing to help. You know, there are people who are spending a long time in prisons who are genuinely remorseful for the crimes that they've committed, and they're willing to do whatever they can to help. You know, help out and do something good." I mean, you guys remember Joran Vandersloot? Remember that guy Patrick, who was like a known gangster in that area? Put cameras and set up Joran. Got him to confess. Need something like that. Okay. So almost in a perfect line, we have Lisa's home, the witness, where Jersey was, and then the dumpster fire. And not far away is where the diapers were found. And searchers found these diapers, and they had a hunch. Their intuition led them here. So there was an abandoned home, couple of abandoned homes throughout this little area right here. And they said they just couldn't ignore it anymore. Went into the abandoned home, and that's where they found new and used diapers and some men's clothing. And this is where we're going to look at that security footage. Not sure what direction the person is walking quite yet. And I think we have a good street view of the area surrounding that dumpster. Let's go there. Violet says, I wonder if the dumpster was a distraction. I believe there was something found in there. I believe they found like burnt clothing or something. Nope, this is not it. Damn it. It's not hard to find. It's like, come on, Bing. I bookmarked that, and it pulled up an old bookmark. Slacking. Bear with me a moment. I gotta refine this area. So annoying. Okay, I think I'm in the right area. I'm lost in Kansas City. Bear with me, guys. I apologize. Alrighty. Sorry about that. We'll go to full screen here. So I had to punch in the address. I mean, this map is confusing. Look at this. It's like super everything looks the same. Right here in this area. Okay. So that's not the home. That's just, this is actually the home. I just typed in the 3600 block of Lister Ave, but this is actually the home here. This would be where Jersey was working. Would have been easy for him to walk out that backyard through here to this dumpster here. There it is. And you can still see the fence here of the backyard that he would have came out of. And the neighbor that we heard speaking, her backyard comes up to right here as well. She says she can come up to the corner of her backyard. She can actually see the dumpster through this little area right here. So about 2 a.m. in the morning, this is on fire. And I'm not 100%, but I believe there was some clothing that was found in here. Burnt. So I'm not sure. I wonder if he was using this home here for a moment, kidnaps the baby, is maybe changing, stealing some clothing from this home, takes everything that he had on or that he used or took from the home, burns it here. Knows that the child needs clothing or something. There's some stores up here. There's food, there's a gas station. And this is where he was spotted, or somebody carrying a baby very early in the morning. I mean, it would make sense if he's like, well, I got to go get something. Walks up this street here, you know, buys the diapers somewhere in this area. And then from this point, walks in this direction to the abandoned home where he's been staying. Now, remember, everybody that knows this Jersey character, John Tanko, says that they didn't know where they knew that he was homeless. They didn't know where he was coming or where he was going. He would just show up. Well, I think it's possible that this is where he was coming and going from. I don't know if he was paid or hired. He was most likely knew that the family was hanging out at a neighbor's home. I'm going to go rob all of these folks. Comes into Lisa's home, robs the home, goes into one of the back bedrooms, sees a baby all alone. Takes the baby here to this home, comes up with a plan, runs some of the evidence to the dumpster, burns that, makes his way over here to the gas station area, gets some diapers and some food or something. Maybe this is the only place that he knew would be open. Makes his way back here, gets dressed, comes up with a plan. And there was actually another sighting of a man with a baby here, which is a lot further away. 4:10, 12:15 is probably when she was abducted. 12:15 is when the witness saw a man going through these yards. So the abduction probably happened before 1 o'clock. And by the time he was able to, and then 2:15 is when the surveillance footage happened. So right around 2 a.m. you have the dumpster fire, and then right around 2 a.m. you have this. So this probably wasn't even noticed until about 2. So this could have been going on for 15 minutes. Here, nobody's going to notice that, 2 in the morning. Or 1:30, 1:45. Burns that, makes his way up the street. That's not very far, guys. It's not even a mile. Or maybe a mile. So we're talking, depending on how fast he's walking, 20 minutes. 15, 20 minutes. Light this fire. And you're here in 20 minutes being spotted on CCTV, on the security footage, on the closed circuit. And then much further in this direction, much further, miles away, there's another sighting. How they got there, I'm not sure. Unless he's just walking with this baby. It's quite the distance. But it is a 2-hour difference. I mean, I guess you could make it here in 2 hours. If you're walking up this road. Hey, Anna says, I think baby Lisa is likely still alive. Maybe she'll do a familial DNA test at some point. Yeah, I mean, I think the chances of her still living are high. You know, he could have been hired to do this. Or just him being a lowlife. He could have found somebody who could connect him with somebody on the black market looking for a child. I'm not sure where she was drinking. Apparently on the porch of one of these homes here. Amanda says it would take a lot of guts to grab a baby during a regular burglary. There must have been some pre-planning to obtain a baby, in my opinion. Yeah, I don't know if just somebody committing a burglary would take a child unless he already knew, you know, maybe somebody was already talking about wanting a child or being able to get money for a child. Or just being a sick son of a gun. He just did it, you know, who knows? Maybe the baby's not okay. We have seen a lot of cases like that. Yeah, I'm not sure which side either. Either here or here. Violet says, why chance walking around with a baby? Well, I mean, you've already taken it. It's a little late for that, right? The question is, why would you take it in the beginning? Maybe they didn't even know. Compulsion. That's the first thing I said, Western Skies. Did you guys test the diapers? That was my first question to myself. That I don't know. I'm assuming they did, right? They had to have. Okay, let's get to these articles. There's some information we haven't gone over yet. And we may only have time for maybe we can get it all. Stop wasting time. All right. This article is titled Baby Lisa Irwin, New Surveillance Footage of Mystery Man. It's from ABC News. New surveillance footage of a mystery man may support the claim by parents of Lisa Irwin that their daughter was abducted. In video obtained exclusively by Good Morning America, a man dressed in white is seen leaving a wooded area at 2:30 a.m. the night of Lisa's disappearance. The family says Lisa was abducted, and they point to a key witness who saw a suspicious man that night carrying a baby. Mike Thompson, and I showed you guys Mike Thompson, told ABC News that he was on his way home from work around 4 a.m. on October 4th when he saw a man in a T-shirt carrying a baby at an intersection about 3 miles from the Irwin home. So right near where that security footage was. It was shortly after 4 a.m. Or no, excuse me. Shortly after 4 a.m., that would have been that other location we pointed out, much further away. It was shortly after 4 a.m. that Lisa's parents said they discovered she was missing. At 4 a.m., 45 degrees, baby don't have a coat or nothing, and this guy is walking down the street, and I thought it was kind of weird, Thompson said. He thought the sight was so unusual that he recalled considering offering the man and baby a ride home, but couldn't because he was on his motorcycle. He later reported what he saw to police and told ABC News he is convinced the baby was Lisa. Thompson described the man as around 5'7", between 140 to 150 pounds, and in his late 30s or 40s. So, yeah. That might put him at about 50 years of age now, give or take. A few hours earlier, a couple living 3 houses down from the Irwin family said they saw a similar sight. A woman and her husband said they saw a man in a T-shirt carrying a baby. They thought the situation was so unusual they reported it to police on the morning of October 4th. It was shocking because I couldn't imagine anyone outside walking their baby in the cold like that with no clothes on, the woman told ABC News. Bradley has said that Lisa was wearing purple shorts and a purple T-shirt when she last saw her, but the neighboring couple said the baby she saw did not appear to be wearing any clothing. We seen the little arm, the leg. It didn't look like the baby had on any clothes, just a diaper, she said. ABC News consultant and former FBI agent Brad Garrett said the timeline of events is strange. Are you going to logically abduct a child, let's say in the midnight area? Then 2 to 4 hours later, you are spotted in the proximity of the neighborhood? I mean, that doesn't make any sense, he said. It could be true, of course, but the logic of abducting a child is so you can take the child to some other location. Well, what if you're on foot and you don't have transportation and it's cold and you're not trying to kill the child? Dumpster fire investigation. GMA has also learned that police are investigating a fire that took place at the dumpster at the same time in that same area. The dumpster fire could explain not only why burnt clothes were shown to Lisa's parents during their interrogation, but also why authorities searched an area landfill as part of the investigation. The dumpsters where the fire occurred is emptied at the landfill. The man who reported the fire told GMA that flames were shooting several feet into the air, and he believes some kind of accelerant was used. So this is very interesting. So I don't know if that points to Jersey or to the family. More towards Jersey, considering that it's just behind the home where he was working. And he was also seen near the gas station. Maybe that's what he was doing. But I don't think he would have to go to the gas station to get an accelerant. He could have got it from the home that he was watching over. Overnight family lawyer Cindy Short gave GMA an exclusive tour of the home where baby Lisa went missing. It was the first time Short saw the home, and she said that what she found surprised her. On Friday, cadaver dogs had a positive hit at the foot of the parents' bed, but last night the rug was still there, intact. So apparently where the dog was hitting, they never tried to get rid of it. This is interesting. Baby Lisa Irwin missing. Witness identifies neighbor in photo lineup. Yeah, that makes sense, Anna. Too many moving parts, but if they wanted to take and be part of a group to maybe groom this child for whatever reason, or to have their own little family, it could be a homeless guy and a girl. You said you wanted a child. Well, here you go. Amanda says, if a criminal was creeping around at night, why would he wear all white unless he would claim to be a nurse or something? I think this person changed because they found clothing and diapers in an abandoned home. They said a man's clothing. So I think he changed his clothing. That may have been all he could get. Hey, Miss Thang. Yep, another case with video that hasn't been solved. That's what I'm thinking, Violet. Had to be. Question is, who is this person? It's a good theory, Anna. Saying people who didn't qualify to adopt had to take it into their own hands. John Stephen Tanko, born 1969, 54, with multiple arrests in Missouri, most near Kansas City area. Do you have a mugshot, Molly? Hey, what's up, Frank Meister? Another good channel. Another great channel. Good to see you, Frank. Yeah, this is definitely a WTF case. Is Jersey and Tanko the same person? Yes. John Tanko and Jersey are the same person. That's his alias. So he was homeless and wanted by law enforcement. So when he introduced himself to these folks that he most likely planned to rob, hey, my name's Jersey. Oh, yeah. Oh, really? So he becomes friends with them and starts offering help, just like a true predator. You know, even child predators, they just want to seem helpful. Oh, you guys go out, for a family night. I'll take care of the kids. You guys deserve it. And that's when the grooming begins. That's why I don't trust overly friendly people. Sorry if you're overly friendly, but if you are, I don't trust you right off the bat. Right off the bat, it's a red flag for me. 63 clocks. It's surprising that a man carrying a baby was seen coming out of the woods during the night. I mean, it would have been in the middle of the night and dark. Exactly. And they did find it suspicious. But at the same time, hindsight, 2020. I'm sure this guy's beating himself up over the fact that he didn't offer them a ride, even though he's on his motorcycle. Hey, what's up? Missing and unsolved crime. Yeah, this is a tough one to cover. It's just so confusing. But I think it's, I wouldn't call it obvious, but I mean, John Tanko's definitely the prime suspect here. Considering what we know and law enforcement taking those castings of his footprint, they're definitely, they might be working on him. I hope that they are. And I think there was some talk. There's I just don't know how good the information is, but apparently there's some talk of a birth certificate and stolen debit cards and things like that. Yeah, I think this case is very solvable. They have a lot to work with here. It just seems like a sophisticated criminal with the burning of evidence, changing of clothes, leaving locations. Whoever did this seems like they didn't have any transportation. They were doing the best with what they can. They've made this decision, or they really didn't plan it out, or the person that they were doing it for was late, or didn't like the plan, needed to change things up. I need you to leave the area type situation. What's up, CJK? Yikes, that's scary. Thank you, 63 Clocks, for sponsoring today's True Crime in the Morning. Appreciate that. Anna says there is something about the family debit card being used on a website that provided fake birth certificates. That actually happened, but became a dead end in the case. Yeah, I couldn't verify it. So if that's legit, I'll continue to dig on that. It seems important. That kind of goes into this theory here. Okay. So this is titled Baby Lisa Irwin Missing. Witness Identifies Neighbor in Photo Lineup. It's by Herbert Pinnock. Christian Post reporter, November 7th, 2011. A witness in the Baby Lisa Irwin case has reportedly identified a family neighbor in a photo lineup. Baby Lisa Irwin missing. Witness identifies neighbor in photo lineup. The neighbor is thought to be the husband of Samantha Brando, who was drinking with baby Lisa's mother, Deborah, on the night of the disappearance. However, the neighbor has an alibi for the night and has also passed a polygraph test. 3 witnesses have reported seeing a man carrying a baby 3 miles from the Irwin home on the night that baby Lisa disappeared. One witness who had reported that he saw a man at an intersection holding a baby with a diaper told the Examiner.com that the man appeared to have a salt and pepper color hair. So I wonder if John Tanko has salt and pepper color hair. Man, a sketch would be really great. Seems like slowly we're putting together all the information. Mike Thompson said he saw the man wearing a t-shirt and white pants at 4:10 a.m. walking near the intersection on the night of the disappearance. The case of baby Lisa has been in the spotlight since she mysteriously disappeared from her Kansas City home on October 4th. Parents Deborah Bradley and Jeremy Irwin reported their daughter missing on the evening of October 4th after Irwin returned home from work and found her crib empty with no sign of baby Lisa. Her mother admitted falling asleep drunk on the night her daughter went missing. Jeremy Irwin worked a night shift as an electrician to help support his family and did not return home until around 4 a.m. when he realized Lisa was not in her crib. Investigators have searched the neighborhood, woods, and ponds, but have found no substantial leads. The case is still being considered a missing persons case and not a murder case by the police. Yeah, I don't know if they have enough evidence to point to murder. No blood, no. And it doesn't look like any of the suspects have sexually related crimes. Okay, we're going to start winding down here. This is another short article. This one's titled, Man Claims Roommate Had Phone Night of Mysterious Irwin Call. It's by Dave Dunn, November 14th, 2011. Anna's asking, so why would Lisa's parents' debit card be used on a website? Sounds like the abductor took more than the baby. If so, why? Was he a distant relative? Missing Unsolved Crime says, I feel the mother never wanted this baby. Why would you say that? I haven't seen anything that would suggest that. What makes you feel that way? That way I can take a look. Violet says this case seems to be solvable. I think so. Well, I think what we have here is a sophisticated, experienced criminal knowing how to cover his tracks, knowing how the law works, and he just needs to come forward. Case solved right there, I think. CJK, too many people saw it. Credible. Yeah, it's definitely a credible tip. Teresa, right? Yeah, we don't need any more confusion. Amanda says, what kind of guy would be wearing a white t-shirt and white pants? To me, that's unusual. I don't think it's unusual considering that they found clothing in the abandoned home and also burnt clothing in the dumpster. So, and he had access to a home where the people weren't there. You know, he was house sitting, basically. Now, I don't know if he had access inside the home, but I'm sure that he would have found access, right? Sounds like scrubs. Could be pajamas. You know, who knows? Anything that's not your clothing, right? So if you just abducted a child, that means that you're going to have fiber, hair. You're going to have maybe even some DNA linked now on that clothing that links you to that home. So a sophisticated criminal will be like, I need to get rid of everything that I had on when I abducted this child. It's going to have DNA. It's going to have my DNA. It's going to have my hair. And then it's also going to have some fibers and possibly hair from Lisa's home. He's got to burn that, which it sounds like he did. And then on top of that, he's going to need new clothes. Maybe he didn't have a whole lot to pick from. All right. Man claims roommate had phone night of mysterious Irwin call. There's some new information in the search of missing baby Lisa Irwin. A Metro man said he knows who was using Megan Wright's phone when it received a call from a phone belonging to Jeremy Irwin and Deborah Bradley the night the child disappeared. So whoever took the child took the phones, remember? And apparently one of those phones made a call to Megan Wright. Megan Wright said that she didn't have her phone when it received a call from a phone reportedly taken from Lisa's Northland house. A former roommate of Wright says that at the time of the mysterious call, he lived with 5 other adults and children, including Wright, at a home about a mile away from the Irwin home in the 3600 block of North Lister, same street. The man who asked Fox 4 to conceal his identity says that another man in the home, known only as Dane, and we're looking up Dane and Megan Wright, may have used the phone that night. The man says that Dane is known to be involved with guns, drugs, and trouble. So maybe this is the link to the dark, well, I wouldn't say the dark web, but the black market, whatever that is. People trying to adopt kids illegally who are being trafficked, maybe. He was the only one that had the phone that night. No one else used the phone that night. It was in his possession the whole night, said the man, who says that Dane was acting secretive and edgy on the phone that night. As for any involvement in the case, the man says that he doesn't believe that Dane would harm a child, but assisting in a cover-up would not be out of character. Says that Dane disappeared about a week after Lisa Irwin vanished. He also added he was unaware of anyone in the house knowing either Deborah Bradley or Jeremy Irwin, Lisa's parents. Kansas City police would neither confirm nor deny they were looking for Dane, this person named Dane. So Dane could be this part of our theory that we mentioned earlier, who has the connection to the black market, recruits John Tanko Jersey, knowing that he's homeless and he can get it done for $300 cash, and then recovers the child from him some point after 4 p.m. All right, because we are out of time, I'm not going to have time for this timeline, and we'll spend another five or so minutes discussing the case. I'll pull these maps back up for you guys. But that is going to be all of our time for this. And you guys can look forward to a part 2 sometime in the, I don't know if it's going to be the near future. There's a couple that I'm already working on. missing and unsolved. We did watch her interviews. We watched like 4 or 5 of them. I just think that's a really bold statement. This is a good point, Kristen. And I think all family members of victims, they want to believe that. You have to. I don't think you have a choice. You can't just believe, oh, well, they're gone. You have to keep hope alive. I don't really think you have a choice. I would love to believe that somebody adopted her and she's still alive. She's a beautiful baby. And honestly, we all should, keep that faith and keep that hope alive. Because I don't see really any evidence that she's passed. I think she would have been found somewhere along these, some of these markers here from where she was kidnapped, where the fire was, wait, I thought I had a video on that. Maybe we'll close out with that, guys. On when they found the diapers. Could have swore I grabbed something on that. Oh, here it is. Okay.
A lot of new developments tonight in the search for baby Lisa. Right now, police are wrapping up at the scene of an abandoned home less than a mile from where 11-month-old Lisa Irwin disappeared. KMBC 9's Marcus Moore is there live. Marcus, they got a 911 call, and like many tips they followed, they went on this one as well.
That is right, Maria. We're just outside this vacant home along Shoto and Russell. This is the home where some volunteer searchers made this discovery this evening. They found a number of diapers, used diapers, along with a backpack.
Molly, Hillsboro, Missouri. Let me know if there's an address attached to that. Maybe we'll write them a letter.
And also men's clothing inside the home. And that is when they called the police. Now, these volunteer searchers have been involved in
Diapers
the search
and
for
men's
baby
clothing.
Lisa. And of course, their very first thought is that the discovery here
Bye, Lisa.
may have been connected to that case. Now, we spoke to one of the gentlemen who went inside the house and made this discovery along with the police department. And this is what they said tonight.
Twice
Hey, Wanda.
gone past this house and thought about it every time. And today is when we took the stand to come in here ourselves and to look.
So the searchers are talking about their intuition and this home that they kept walking by. Something was calling them to the home and they were just nervous about going into it, trespassing and things like that. But after a few times searching the area, they said, you know what? We agree, like something's going on with this home. And trusting their instincts and their intuition, they search the home and they find freshly used diapers, a couple new diapers, and men's clothing. I mean, this is fitting in with the John Tanko. Now, I don't know if this Dane guy is who set it all up, because we heard a witness say that John Tanko told her that he participated for $300. Now, if he's the character that we found who has a lengthy rap sheet and is involved in drugs and is homeless, $300 can be a whole lot of money for somebody under those circumstances. But if you guys could please hit the like button on the way out. And if you could share the video. And if you're subscribed now, consider becoming a member. We are doing a giveaway on the 27th at about 3 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. We'll do 4 drawings. And we do stay pretty active in our members community. So. Anna says, I bet if law enforcement could look at circles of relatives and associates of suspects, somebody might be found who obtained a baby at the time. Violet, thank you. Happy holidays. Devoted. Always good to see you. Jerry says, whoever it was didn't know about babies, or it looks like they'd have had the baby bundled up. If it was cold, it would have drawn less attention, maybe. I think that's the reason this person was drawing so much attention, because he was panicked about that. You know, he probably wasn't even thinking it through. Yikes. Yeah, and I've heard about a lot of crazy stuff like that. There was this one lady who set up a pregnant woman. She told her she was interested in purchasing something from her. And then when she showed up, she tied her up and tried to cut the baby out of her stomach. She was 8 months pregnant. So I don't really spend a whole lot of time on the why, because sometimes that's the hardest part to figure out, right? Why? Sometimes only the perpetrator can answer that question. Yeah, they followed up, and I don't know. I don't spend too much time on the cadaver dog, especially after all of the false positives and things like the mishandling of the dogs. And I think there were multiple dogs also. And the family didn't try to get rid of the rug. It's still there. So I don't know how much I lean on that. I think it's important not to just disregard it. But peace out, Violet. 63. Thank you again, Anna. All righty, guys. We are going to get out of here. I appreciate everybody who was able to catch the live stream and participated. And for those of you who are helpful and send me emails and things like that, shout out to you guys. Happy New Year. See you guys tomorrow. All you members, for the giveaway, remember 3 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. No longer 6 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. You have to be there to win. We'll give you a 5-minute buffer. All right. You guys have a great rest of your day. I will see you mañana. Take care, everybody.